And welcome to We Live in Color. I'm your host, Deontay Damper. I'm so happy y'all have joined me today. Now, before we begin, I need you to do me a favor and like, share, and subscribe to Converge Media, where you can learn more about Back to Basa, Seattle News and Brews, and more. Go to whereweconverge.com to see why Black media matters. Now, I know y'all heard in the beginning of this show, you hear that theme song, right? And I just want to be very clear, it wasn't me that actually does it. It's my friend. And I'm so happy that he's here. Because not only are they an amazing singer, they're also a DEI consultant, as well as just a community builder and healer. And help heal me. Mm-hmm. Welcome, Aaron Cherub Carr.
Thanks for having me. I'm glad to be here.
I'm glad to have you here. Now, before we get into the things, can we just talk about this theme song? Because I wanted to sing background, but you were just like, no.
Yeah, that was a artistic choice.
Okay.
I remember when you first I was like, okay, yeah, you want me to do the theme song? Could you just let me know what you're thinking? Just hum it, And you sent me and I'm like.
I sent you the hum, but it wasn't a good hum.
And I was like, I hear something. Yeah, so it was really fun to just bring that to life and to work off that, but also include actual musical notes.
Yeah, well, that was a shade, but I'll take that as a friend shade.
But love you.
But we met here, really got to know each other here in this very studio.
Yeah.
And I'm just so happy to have you here by yourself to get more, for community to learn more about your journey. Mm-hmm. So, and you're from the D. We already had Dr. Renee on here earlier. She's from Detroit. So what was it like growing up in the D?
Yeah, I'd say growing up in Detroit, I would say I didn't appreciate it, honestly, as much as I do now when I was a young person. I grew up in the 90s during the crash of the auto industry. So a lot of my family and people they knew worked in the auto industry and really were suffering because it was bad working conditions, but also lots of layoffs. And when a whole city is dependent on that, it really impacts stuff. And so I think I grew up in that space where people were really struggling, but figuring out how to work together and remain resilient as a family. And that's one thing that, looking back, I realized was a beautiful part of growing up in Detroit. We always had each other's back. On the neighborhood, on the street, my neighbors had my parents' back, even if we were all struggling in certain ways. So that's what I would share. It was like growing up in Detroit,
Yeah, and having that close-knit family, right? They're also into music as well. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah. My mom is a singer, and I'm adopted, by the way, but my adopted mom is a singer, my grandma is a singer, my auntie, my dad is low-key a singer. And so growing up around folks in the Motown who are all singers, it's so funny. I was like, I want to be a singer when I grow up. And my mom was like, and what else do you want to do? / get a job. So I feel like I've always wanted to be an artist, but I kind of was forced into nonprofit world. And that's kind of where I landed. But definitely all singers. And, I remember I actually sang and my mom used to be like, no, you're running, you're not singing, because she had a pure voice. So I've always been working on that.
Yeah, I mean, but you talk so much about the village, within your family, and you do that here, right? So were you able to, while you found yourself, was Detroit more accepting, or how did you navigate through that space?
Well, I think like I said, I didn't say this, but growing up in Detroit, I knew as a kid that I was going to leave. My whole childhood, I'm like, I'm going to get out here as soon as I can. So I left when I graduated high school at 17. And I never moved back to Detroit. But when I left, I was able to have all these wild experiences. I lived in 6 or 7 different cities actually before Seattle. And so when I go back, I bring in an energy of a Detroiter who's gotten the opportunity to evolve. And I think people respect me now when I go to Detroit, and they respect that energy, even if they can't access it themselves. But I feel a lot more seen and accepted now that I feel like I've been able to see who I was outside of that, right? Sometimes you need to get outside of where you're from and then go back to actually be your full self in that community.
Yeah, and I mean, well, you've been here for 10 years, but you were living in other cities. So how did you navigate that? Pittsburgh?
Yeah, I lived in Pittsburgh, Los Angeles, New York City, Sacramento, and then all around Cali. Then I moved to Seattle. And I did it through AmeriCorps, through volunteering, making not a lot of money, being with a bunch of people living in shared housing, a lot of white people. But I think it was important for me because, again, I got to actually experience the world and figure out where I belonged and who I wanted to be as a leader in that community, in community itself.
Yeah. And what were some of the things that you learned while coming here, though? Because I feel like, we've talked about this before, that it just kind of felt different.
Yeah, Seattle is different. And I think sometimes another good thing I get from being in different places and coming here, I'm like, these are the benefits. Seattle, one, is so queer. This is the queerest place I've ever been. I can walk around the community and see trans folks, non-binary folks, people of all different expressions, people you can't even understand, I don't know what that expression means. And that's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Like Seattle has that and other cities don't. Seattle is also very magical, right? And really the advocacy and the organizing here is the best, right? Like being inspired and influenced by the Black Panthers and all these amazing groups that started up here in Seattle and Washington, I think really shaped the history of this city in a beautiful way and created an energy that people can exist within when they want to advocate and create, like what's happening in the Central District in Africatown. Like that kind of organizing doesn't happen in other places.
But being able to also own your own truth, right? So you about he, they pronouns. And most of the time when we're talking to other non-queer folks, right, they have a really hard time with understanding what non-binary is.
Yeah.
And I love asking this question to my community folks because sometimes we all have our own identity of what that means. So what does that mean to you?
Yeah, for me, it's actually different from a lot of people's perspective. I mean, but it is like one thing I learned, right? I learned from a Black trans person about gender and sexuality. And one thing they told me is like to remember that this is not about remembering pronouns. This is not about a test. This is about you understanding that if someone tells you who they are, believe it. Right, like that's what I want to share pronouns are, is that people decide on different roles, different identities that they want to experience in their lives in community. And when they tell you this is how I want to experience community as a he, they, or they, them, or a Zzier, or, it's not for you to be like, what does that mean? So I can conceptualize it. It's like, okay, Zzier.
Yeah, and I'm everywhere.
And I'm everywhere, right? And so that for me, gender, especially being non-binary, is actually not about gender. It's about the fluidity and the ability for me to transform into whatever. If I want to be cunty, if I feel like I'm auntie tonight, or if I feel like I'm uncle, I'm both,
Yeah, and you can have both, but you also come for the titles too.
Yeah.
So I want to talk to you a little bit more about those titles and also being able to live in so many different intersections in community. And I want you to give us some tips on how we can do that as well, okay? We're going to take a quick break. You're watching We Live in Color.
Celebrate and cheer on the Mariners in style this summer from a suite at T-Mobile Park. Whether you need space for 14 or 400 guests, we have a suite to fit any occasion. And VIP amenities that will cement your status as the host with the most. First-class food and beverages. VIP parking at entry. And of course, incredible views of every unforgettable moment. Book yours today at mariners.com/suites.
Here on Back to Vesa, it's always been important to me that we uplift stories from across the region and that no matter where you live in the nation, you never have to miss a moment of the show as we continue to highlight the beauty, excellence, and resilience of our communities across the Pacific Northwest. Why? Because representation matters. So no matter where you live, be it the Central District or Centralia, Portland or Pullman, or anywhere across the country, I encourage you to join me on this Back to Vesa journey by downloading the free Fox Local app on your phone or smart TV as we continue to elevate the very best in our communities.
Hey, besties!
What is a bestie?
I like you.
She's fun.
It's about to be a good time!
She's always looking out for you.
Since you're my bestie, I will handle it for you.
She makes you think.
Here to uplift and empower.
She's always encouraging.
You are that girl!
Chelsea Edwards, your bestie in daytime.
I get the spiritual moments.
Chatting with Chelsea. New episodes weekdays at 5:30 or stream anytime on Fox Soul.
And welcome back to We Live in Color. I'm here with my friend of friends, Aaron Cherub Carr.
Hey.
We were talking during the break and just hearing everything that you do. You are everywhere. I mean, I get to say this. I get to say this.
As a youth.
You are everywhere, right? And I want to know a little bit more about pageants, right?
Yeah.
I, as a person that grew up here, and I lived down south, right, but didn't really have an opportunity. I only participated in one pageant, not me doing it, but just supporting someone. But I don't really see a surgeon of Black and brown folks participating.
Yeah.
Tell us about your experience, because you got mixed.
Yeah, Washington State Mixed Leather 2024, and I'm Northwest Person of Leather 2025. So being being in the leather community was really beautiful for me when I first got in, because I realized that it's a community that's based on consent and communication. And it's like this healthy way of addressing and talking about passions and pleasure and what you enjoy and what you desire, and going deeper into that in ways that I've never seen in other queer spaces that I've been in. And it was so healing for me. And anytime something is healing for me, it's kind of just a part of my nature to try to do that for other people. So I felt the need to like go deeper into the leather scene and become a leader because like you said, there aren't a lot of Black and brown people in the leather community, right? And in order for me to see myself and to see people who look like me there, I know there's work I have to do in that community too, right? While I love it and I appreciate what it's done for me, I also see the growth that is possible. So I decided to be a title holder, which a title holder is like a spokesperson almost, right? But also kind of like a politician in the leather community. Like you really are a leader. You're someone that people give resources, support, energy to. So I, did that once here in Seattle and Washington to be a mixed title holder, which is about being a non-binary person in leather and representing the needs of non-binary folks. But now I'm a person of leather 2025 of the whole Northwest region, which is, the Bay Area, Cali, Nevada, Reno area, Alaska even, Oregon, and Washington State. It's all of those things. And so I'm traveling around trying to understand kind of what are the needs from the leaders? What do they need? Because I don't know, people don't have that energy. It's like leather. People are like, let's have fun. Let's be, sexy, but they don't think about how they support each other. And I guess I bring that community lens into leather.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to get into, of just being Black. I don't really see very many Black and brown folks, maybe further on the East Coast, but I don't see very much representation of Black folks in pageants specifically, but let alone holding a binary title.
Yeah.
Did you ever get any pushback?
Yeah, I think luckily, like I said, coming into Seattle, it's a very queer place. A lot of my friends are non-binary and trans. A lot of my friends are radical. So I feel like in my little bubble, I felt supported, right? I think there is a weird feeling of being a non-binary title holder in the leather scene, which is still very masculine dominated and, man dominated and cis man dominated. And to try to come in and bring in non-binary perspectives, but also being Black perspectives, because it's kind of different worlds, right? There's a lot of trans and non-binary advocacy and work being done in this community, but that censors white folks. And then there's a lot of Black, anti-racist work being done, but that censors cis men or straight Black folks. And so to be a Black person trying to think about all of my needs, the queer Black non-binary person, I think that's the pushback. People aren't ready to hear that all of these needs exist because they've never saw someone like me.
Yeah.
But
And that actually gets me to go to the next part, right? Because you also do consulting, because I was actually wanting to write some of the things you just said down. How did you get into the consulting work?
Yeah, so I worked for when I moved to Seattle, I worked for an education nonprofit. I eventually became a director. And one thing that I saw in doing a lot of anti-racist work in the schools is that these trainings were inadequate. Like they just spun people in circles, nothing happened. And I'm like, we're paying all this money for what? So I ended up creating curriculum. For that organization, it became like a national model for how to do that work organizationally. And it shifted my whole organization's thinking and way of being to the point where I started leading all the strategic work. And I eventually realized you could get paid for this, right? And this is one thing I will tell people is like, right, we have a lot of skills that we've developed from surviving and being resilient in the system, a lot of knowledge and wisdom that actually is very valuable to other people because they haven't had to do the same work. And that's why I'm a consultant, is that I learned the value of my knowledge. And now I know how to show up and utilize that in any different situation. I work with the city of Seattle right now, creating curriculum and frameworks. I work with like national organizations, multi-million-dollar organizations with their board, their staff, their senior leadership. I do that now because I know my value and I know the worth of my wisdom,
Well, you better.
Sister man.
Sister. No, but I wanted to ask you too, how can you do both, right? Work in the areas of within the title holding, you are consultant and you're artist.
Yeah.
I know that most folks outside looking in, and I'm saying way outside, the naysayers, how are you able to hold space for both?
Yeah, I think I've learned this being an organizational consultant. Any big body of work, any great work starts with a simple, what are your values? Like I had to understand my core values and what I care about, and how I choose to manifest and live into those values. And that involves creativity, that involves consultation and advocacy, that involves just being in community with people and helping them heal and take care of themselves as I take care of myself, right? Like all of those things are what I need in order to see the world that I want to live in. So I can't just be one thing. I have to be all the things that I can be for community. I don't have to, I choose to be all of these things, because that I know I can, I know it's important.
Yeah. So what are some of the tips that you can give? Because some folks feel like they can't do both, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to be a part of leather because I work at Amazon, or I can't be in this specific scene or even out rather, right?
Yeah.
What's some advice that you can give to some of these folks?
Yeah, I'd say like it sounds funny, like sometimes people don't like this word, but boundaries. Learn your boundaries, right? Learn where you start and where other things end. Like you can go into any space and be safe if you know how you want to navigate that space, right? How I navigate leather is important, right? How do I navigate community work? It's different. How do I navigate, being a consultant? Like my boundaries and my perspective on that is different, and I show up differently or in the ways that are safe to me in each of those places. So I would say, one, know your boundaries so that you can safely do it. But two, trust yourself. Like trust the fact that you got to take care of your base level needs before you're able to do some of these things. Like, so sometimes because you as a person need to take care of yourself, you don't have the space to be all these things. And that's kind of where I am still. Right? Like how much space do I actually have to be in leather? How much space do I have to be a community organizer? How much space am I giving art? Right now I want to give more space to my art. I just had recorded my second music video on Sunday and you were in it.
Yes.
And it had a full creative team, and that's me creating space for art because I felt like, maybe the balance was a little off. I was doing too much community work and I wasn't expressing myself the way I want. So it's going to always be that kind of ebb and flow of figuring out how you find that balance.
Yeah, and let's get into the single. Mm-hmm. What's the song called?
It's called This Is The End, and it's alternative, it's emo. I am emo, so sorry, friends. But it's really like a mix of like Radiohead and like D'Angelo, because D'Angelo was very alternative actually. Soulful but punk, and so that's kind of as I learn who I am and my intersections as a musician, I am both a punk alternative artist, but I'm also like a neo soul singer. I'm from Detroit,
Mm-hmm.
It's in my blood to be neo soul. So I love that the single lets me kind of like try to fuse those two ideas.
Yeah. Do you feel, what is the song about?
Yeah, so it's hard to explain, but like it's ultimately about like who I am at the end of the world, like, but also like at the beginning of something new, right? Like really it was about me letting go of an energy where I felt unworthy, an energy where I felt like I was constantly fighting to get validated by other people, and like realizing, maybe I will never be what other people want, but I'm enough for me. Like I am who I want to be now, and so the music video was really about that. It's just like letting yourself be sad, letting yourself deal with the grief of that, but also accept that you can have more, that there is more for you.
Yeah, and I love that. And I want to talk to you a little bit more about some things that you got coming up, because you got an award that you're about to get. And I want to hear more about your upcoming events. We're going to do that in the We Live in Color tribute. If you're watching, We Live in Color.
Working with Dentalman has been totally different than working with a traditional bank.
They're real, and they meet you right where you stand.
I was recently funded, and that money has just changed the trajectory of what we're able to do and our output. This has been just more than just funding or a one-on-one connect. It's been an opportunity for us to really grow and connect and build roots within the community.
As a small business owner, you need to put your faith into the right people, and they seem like good people to put your faith into.
In Seattle, it's more than just coffee. It's community. At the station, we brew more than just your favorite cup. We brew connection. From Beacon Hill to Columbia City, we're a space for artists, activists, and everyone in between. A place to gather, create, and simply be. Whether you need a quiet place to work, a lively spot to meet friends, or just a moment to unwind, find your place at the station. More than coffee, it's home. Visit us in Beacon Hill or Columbia City. The station, where community happens. Here on Back to Vesa, it's always been important to me that we uplift stories from across the region, and that no matter where you live in the nation, you never have to miss a moment of the show as we continue to highlight the beauty, excellence, and resilience of our communities across the Pacific Northwest. Why? Because representation matters. So no matter where you live, be it the Central District or Centralia, Portland or Pullman, or anywhere across the country, I encourage you to join me on this Back to Vesa journey by downloading the free Fox Local app on your phone or smart TV as we continue to elevate the very best in our communities.
And we're back where We Live in Color. I'm here with my friend Cherub Carr. We have reached the point, my friend, We Live in Color tribute. Mm-hmm. Who would you like to tribute, and who helps you live in color?
Yeah, I feel like it's a cop-out, and probably many people say it, but you. I think that like our friendship, like there's a period where I was like I was going through it earlier this year, and I was really, really sad. And I remember you being like, no matter what happens, no matter what you do, no matter what we go through, like I love you unconditionally. And I felt like that was what I needed. That's what I need. And I believe that's what a lot of people need in this time is like true unconditional love and support from the people in their community, regardless of if they make mistakes, regardless of if they're happy, sad, cute, not looking cute that day, you know, that true love. And so that helps me live in color because I don't feel like there's an expectation that I have anymore to be in community in a certain way. I feel like we really practice in our relationship being what we can be for each other and supporting in the ways we can. And in the ways we can't, we just be like, pay it. And that's me living in color. So thank you.
You know, Aaron, I met you at a point of time in my life where, you know, most people see Deontay out here, but there's so many things that I was harboring on when I got out of treatment, and I felt so lost, and I just needed you, and I'm even right now, I've struggled. People might see me here, and might see me at events, and I'm still going through a space where I'm struggling. And I just appreciate your friendship. You have been such a gift to me. This very studio is such a gift to me because I found you here. So thank you for helping me live in color. I love you.
Love you too.
Okay, get off. I want people to see where that's sensitive.
Exactly. Like, no, we're thugs. So
no, but I love you. And congratulations are in order.
Yeah.
Trailblazer.
Yeah, I'm excited. I got my first community award. Well, soon we'll get it next month. P&W Black Pride around August 23rd. I'm getting the Industry Trailblazer Award, which I think is really cool. Like, because my career has been a beautiful manifestation. Like, you know, what I do for work as an events coordinator, as an activations manager like Carol Anderson, as a consultant in the city and public sphere, all of these different spaces, and doing that while just being me and like wearing my Bowser backpack and my cool, you know, like this is me dressed for work, right? Like this is me going to work, and like that is me trailblazing as in color, like as a queer Black person, as a non-binary person, I show up as my complete self and I succeed. And that's worth, you know, celebrating.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
You know I'm gonna be there.
Yeah.
And who's presenting this to you?
Yeah, P&W Black Pride.
Good.
Which are like such an important community of folks who've just really like nurtured Black gay culture here in Seattle.
Yeah, and hey, got started there, and just so happy that they're prioritizing one of my besties. So it's just great. But I need you to do me a favor, because I mean, you give me the call all the time. But can you give community a call to action? Just look in that camera right there.
Yeah, I think my call to action for community is, this sounds crazy, but be soft and do nothing. Like really practice allowing yourself to be soft and gentle. Like there is a power in that vulnerability. And in this time right now, I think we need a world that's a little less rigid, a little less violent, a little less confrontational, right? And so really practice like finding places where you can actually just like be soft and feel gentle. That's the lesson I learned, especially leaning into divine masculinity as a non-binary person.
I love you.
Love you too.
Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for existing for community, but just thank you for the calls. Thank you for showing up. And I love you.
Love you too. Not on camera, yo.
Okay, I'm sorry.
It's not that kind of queer show, friends.
I thought it was. No. But I want to thank you so much, Cherub, for coming in. And thank you so much, community. We had a great time, and we will be back here next week. Same Converge time, same Converge channel. Remember to walk with love. Have a good day.